Well, let's get to it while we're really here, the main event. Before we do, I want to encourage everybody, go watch the promo right before the match. It's in the dressing room area. Shawn Michaels is going to do probably an off-the-cuff, non-scripted promo with Kevin Kelly. And you can tell he's not happy that the promo goes a little longer than it should. He felt like maybe it would be shorter if you're reading the body language. And at one point he says, these mind games would work on me if I had anything as far as a mind or something like that. But there's just not a lot up there. And it reminds me of a friend of ours
wrote that,
who recently said, my daughter's not as dumb as she looks, which is just a great all-time home run line.
I never said that.
No, of course not. Anyway, go watch the interview. It's hilarious. And it will remind you, by the way, that everybody gets better. Evolution is a thing. Shawn Michaels retained the WWF title, beating Mankind in 26 minutes and 25 seconds. Mankind's brought to the ring in a casket by Druids. And boy, they pull out all the stops. This was a really, really good match. You and I watched it again. I still wish they had a clean finish. Of course, at the end, Vader's going to run in for the DQ. But they do the big table spot. We teased it last week. Mankind peels the mats back. It looks like he's going to be setting up something for Shawn on the concrete. Instead, Shawn just covers him back up with those same mats and jumps up and down on him. It's a silly little spot, but it really works. And they even have a spot where Shawn Michaels does like the Sabu style. Hey, I'm going to get a running start, jump off a chair, and then almost Rob Van Daminator a chair into Mankind's head. They pulled out a lot of really cool stuff in that match. I dug it. The use of the steps with Foley, just brutal stuff. What do you think of the match?
I thought the match was excellent, very innovative, and it was a lot of first times. Look, tables weren't a thing every week. Back then, they were something that wasn't used, especially in WWE. Mankind being a very unique character at the time that had an unorthodox style that wasn't something that you would say, hey, man, here's going to be this catch-as-catch-can match, classic wrestling match. No, it was going to be a little dirty, and it was going to be a little ugly. And everything about it to me was intriguing. Even to this day, it holds up as an absolute excellent match. I dare say the best match Mick Foley's ever had in his life.
I think Foley wrote in his book that he thought it was his best match too. And Meltzer would say a super match, but the week ending kept it from being the match of the year. He gave it 4 3/4 stars. I too would have liked to have seen a clean finish. I don't think we needed Undertaker or Sid or Vader or any of the extra shenanigans. The match itself was good. There was one spot though where he got something from Paul Bearer and started stabbing himself in the leg with it. They explained on commentary it was a pencil.
No, JR immediately went, he's stabbing himself with a pencil. And it's a white wrapped up piece of tape. And how would you know that's a pencil? How would you know that's a pencil?
Tell me about the spot in the match that you took issue with. It looked like a miscommunication. It looked like there was going to be an Irish whip, and then perhaps Mankind was going to follow him. He did not. Shawn teased that he was going to surprise him with a crossbody splash, but of course he looked and realized he's not there, so he ran over to him. And as he made the approach, you could tell the guys were like, well, what now? Mankind just slaps him. And you were like, be sure to ask me about that. So here I am.
Well, because, again, during that time, we'd had the Vader match with Shawn.
At SummerSlam.
At SummerSlam. That was the last pay-per-view, and there was a miscommunication in that match that everybody was on Shawn about. And, oh, Shawn's got such a bad attitude, and he's unprofessional this and he's unprofessional that, and how dare he do that to Vader and all this other crap. In laying out the match, the idea was brought up to, hey, what if we had a miscommunication like in the Vader match?
On purpose.
On purpose, and yet everybody picked it up, including your buddy there, picked it up. Oh, Shawn being a dick again, Shawn being unprofessional again with a miscommunication in a match, and it was all built in. It was all built in to tell a story.
Actually, Meltzer didn't write about it.
I bet he did.
He did not. I just read the whole review.
Okay, well, he talked about it.
But that spot has been talked about by both Shawn and Foley, where they planned it off of the miscommunicated spot at SummerSlam. But you liked it. You liked that it was sort of a callback, if you were paying attention.
Yeah, I did. I loved it, and I thought it was very well done. And yeah, Meltzer did bite and did talk about it during that time.
Well, not in the write-up
Maybe
for
just
that
because
match.
you can't find it in your research.
I just read the whole review.
Okay. I'm just saying in his talking about things at the time.
Oh, so you're saying y'all would plan spots to intentionally fool Meltzer and
No.
go, ha-ha?
It was actually something that people were talking about, and it was one of the things that the boys were talking about kind of as we got into Shawn and looking at Shawn's whole, not the work, but it was a frustrated Shawn. You know, as a talent and as a champion, and is the championship getting to be too much for Shawn? Because where before Shawn Michaels would have been on his game and would have gone flawlessly through this, you're seeing a frustrated Shawn, and to work that into the story.
Why don't you think we saw more of Shawn and Mankind together? I mean, it feels like they had natural chemistry. You know, the whole dude love story that we're going to learn where Mankind really thought he would be Shawn Michaels, where Foley aspired to be what Shawn Michaels became as a youngster. But we didn't get like a series of matches like we did with Shawn and Undertaker. And we know that Shawn and Undertaker are just going to have an incredible series of matches a year later, you know, the fall of 97. But we don't see that series of matches. And this one, God, what a great match.
It was a great match, and, you know, there was talk about a program, but again, everybody else had different dancing partners, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get this a year down the line. And then Shawn got hurt a year down the line, year, you know, literally a year.
Less than that.
It was in September, wasn't it, when the casket match was?
Oh, that was January Royal Rumble. But what you're talking about is he lost his smile the coming February.
Okay, well, it was
either way. Shawn was a whole.
We were looking at it. We'll get it down the road.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
In hindsight, you know, 2020. Hindsight's always 2020. Do you think?
No, it's 2021.
Sure. Do you think you should have had a clean finish here, or are you happy with what we saw?
No, I'm happy with what we saw because you kind of had to protect Mankind, and obviously couldn't take the title off of Shawn, and it was an excellent match. I don't think there was one person that was disappointed in that you didn't have a clean 1, 2, 3 in that match.
So Jim has talked about before, JR has talked about before, he was hesitant to sign Foley. He just didn't see it. And now he's had an incredible feud with The Undertaker, arguably the best match in the company that year in 1996. I know a lot of, you know, idiots would think that it was Shawn and Bret from WrestleMania 12, but that match sucked.
Greatest match ever.
Yep. Is Vince all high fives afterwards? Holy shit, look what we've got here in Mick Foley.
I think that it was all of a sudden that Mick wasn't a monster one-trick pony with Big Man Undertaker.
He had different speeds
that he was able to perform. He was able to deliver. But I think that Vince saw that in the Undertaker matches enough that he had the confidence to put him in the main event spot with Shawn.
Was Shawn happy with the match? We know that Foley calls it one of his best matches ever.
I remember Shawn being ecstatic.
That's awesome. I only ask because, you know, as the legend goes, he thought at times Vader could be stiff, and perhaps that mask was a little smelly. And Foley has said the exact same thing, that his mask, because it was leather, there's only so much he could do with that. It was not going to be fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, but Mick wasn't stinky like.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
overall,
remember Mick being, well, anyway.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. What do you give
Thumbs
it?
up.
I mean, the show's probably best remembered for the ECW angle and the main event. But even without the ECW angle, I think people would still be talking about that main event. I mean, what a match.
The main event was excellent. I thought Taker Goldust was damn good.